I recently had a conversation with a friend that I hadn't seen in years. And the reason I hadn't seen her is because she has kids. Her life outside of work is consumed by her kids. Family activities, and she recently enrolled her son into softball. So she's like, you're never gonna see me on Saturdays ever again. In the slim window that is her schedule, she pencils in her friends without kids, and that's me. Maybe once a year she'll pencil in myself and our other mutual friend, and we both have no kids. It's really hard to stay in touch or hang out with friends with kids. Just in case somebody is wondering, I've had so much unsolicited advice. If you're a woman without kids, you've heard it all. Your reproductive system becomes everybody's business for some reason.
Teresa, why don't you have kids?
First of all, you want to take a look at my vagina. It didn't happen. God does not want me to have kids. That's it. He said, "Thou shalt not procreate." It's none of your business why I don't have kids. Nobody has ever in my life asked me to babysit their kids because they know I'm not a responsible person. I don't give off an air of confidence that you won't come back and what the hell is happening to my house? So I don't give off maternal vibes. So we just see her once a year if we're lucky. And now that her kid is in softball, maybe never. She was telling me the annual cost for her kid's daycare, and there's two, is more than her mortgage. Naturally, being a curious person and also a blunt person, I asked her what her mortgage is. I'm not going to tell you the number. Guys, her mortgage is lower than my rent. She is paying less for her mortgage than I am paying for my rent in this crappy apartment in which somebody takes a dump on my stairs. In the scheme of the millennial pecking order, I could rank her above me. I'm definitely below her. But then at the same time, I don't feel very bad because I wouldn't want to be paying an annual daycare fee equivalent to the median income of most Americans, We were wondering, because we both grew up in the 90s, and we were wondering what did our parents do with us? They never had to pay daycare for us. My mom was a stay-at-home mom for most of my childhood, and oh boy, does she not want to be. Her mom was a working mom, a single working mom, basically. But she was never in daycare. What did our parents do with us back then that we cost them so little? And then our kids, not that I have any, our kids cost so much. I think we were all left to our own accord as a kid, raised by our parents, but at the same time, left to raise ourselves. Our parents were there. We were in the same house, but where was she? I have no idea. After I heard this, I told my mom how much my friend pays in daycare, and I'm like, you didn't pay a dime for me. To be honest, Mom, if I had a daughter, I would wish my daughter was like me. In hindsight, I was a very inexpensive child to raise. Very inexpensive. I'll tell you how inexpensive, because it did not cost you the equivalent of somebody's yearly salary to put me into daycare as a kid. It did give you opportunity costs. The death of your dreams and everything. Overall, I felt like I was a pretty well-behaved kid. And for the most part, I just wanted to be left alone. Overall, in terms of the balance sheet, I feel like my friend has spent more on her kids, and they're not even 5 years old. She has spent more on them than my parents have ever spent on me in my entire lifetime. And that is when I came upon several articles pondering if it's possible to give your kid a 90s summer, a carefree 90s summer without screens. Just let them roam around the neighborhood. There's actually a reactionary movement involved with the fact that kids are so overscheduled now. They're enrolled in so many activities to optimize their time and prepare them, give them an advantage for the future. The term kid rot has come up. You give the kid the freedom to choose what they do with their time instead of enrolling them in a bunch of activities. So that's what we're going to talk about today. This is just an excuse actually for me to talk about what it was like to have a 90s summer and if it's even possible today. My name is Teresa. I don't know anything about having kids. And if I had my own kid, I kind of would want the kid to be like me. I wish I could have a daughter like me. Like, I wish I could clone myself and raise myself. If I were to clone myself and then raise myself, I would like to think that I would turn out better, but maybe I would turn out worse. I don't know if I could handle two of me. The kids around my neighborhood all seem to be very accomplished and very busy. Just around graduation time, around the beginning of summer, the city would put out this newsletter of the valedictorians of the various school districts around us. And oh my God, these kids, 17, 18 years old. I guess like when you're 18, you're not a kid anymore, but I still think you're a kid. These kids are so accomplished. They have accomplished more in their 4 years in high school that some of us have accomplished in our entire lives. Back when I was young and applying for colleges, I would hear tales of my peers, not from my school, but just around the country, those who were accepted to Ivy Leagues. They would have some very impressive accomplishments, perfect scores on their SATs, already are involved in like some scientific research paper or something. They've already taken like 2 years worth of college classes. They're not only the president of multiple clubs, but the chairman of the board. They're also on like a variety of varsity teams. This one girl I remember that got into Harvard, she published the book. Back in the day, I'm like, oh my God, this is a lot. This is a lot. I feel like I was not that much of a slouch. I got into UCLA. I got in on the basis of my class rank, which is number 1. Overall, I feel like my extracurriculars were lacking. Like I had some, but I just did the bare minimum. And I feel like nowadays that just won't fly. Like I've heard stories of how difficult it is to get into UCLA right now. Back in my day, if I could get in, it wasn't that difficult. I'm not a very accomplished person. Nowadays, okay, so my city puts out this newsletter of the best and the brightest. And oh my God, these kids, they're 10 times more accomplished than my peers back in the day who, have already reached the pinnacle of overachievement. These kids are not only captains of at least more than one sport, okay? They're the captains of varsity swimming, softball, volleyball, on the road to compete in the Olympics. They've like competed internationally. They've founded startups, like Silicon Valley startups that have been VC funded. They're the VC who fund these startups. Some of them are getting like, I don't know, the Nobel Prize. I was like reading through them. I'm like, oh my God, they haven't even entered college, but it's like they should already retire because they're already successful at 17 years old. Like I've always felt behind in life, but now like this 17-year-old kid, I can't even keep up with a 17-year-old kid. I've been hearing a lot of discourse about like how Gen Z or like Gen Alpha can't read. I'm just gonna say everybody around me, all these kids around me, I'm surrounded by geniuses. They have a startup. Somebody has already published 10 scientific papers even before they entered college. When I entered college, when I went to UCLA, I was a science major, so I just took a bunch of science classes, and they were like they're beyond the science classes. What am I doing with my life? What have I done with my life that I have not published 10 science papers before I turned 18. I have not founded a startup or two. Why do you even need to go to college? You're the head of your own business already. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what kind of super spinach these kids are eating, but I feel like they really go against all the discourse and all the panic about Gen Z can't read. Gen Z reads fine where I live. They not only read just fine, they seem to have revised the dictionary. Change in the world, That's a lot of accomplishments to have under your belt. That's a lot of notches on your belt before you turn 18. When do you even have time to be a kid? And I could already see like my friend, she's a go-getter. She's going to make sure that her kids have the best opportunities in life based on like they have to have successful names. Before they're even enrolled in kindergarten, they're already enrolled in all these activities. By the time her kid is even in kindergarten, I feel like her kid would already have the education of somebody who's already in 5th grade. It's hard telling, not knowing if I had a kid, like would I be kind of a tiger mom or would I be more of a relaxed parent? My instincts tell me that I would probably be a tiger mom. I don't want my kid to fall behind the other super kids out there in this neighborhood? Are they going to have to found a startup by the time they turn 10? When you're around all these super kids, it's kind of hard to say, like, kid, just have like a relaxed 90s summer like mom used to. I would try to optimize their time. When I was 10, I was just roaming around the backyard. How can you allow your kid to roam around the backyard when these other kids are founding startups? Their friends are going to make fun of them because they're like a loser roaming around the backyard having fun like a kid. So we were wondering, when we were kids in the 90s, I'm a few years older than her, so I had more time in the 90s than she did. What did our parents do with us? Why were we so cheap, hassle-free to raise? And her kids now, where I see like a lot of other parents, a lot of other friends, they're just really busy with their kids. The 90s have been romanticized by my fellow millennials as the last grasp of unsupervised childhood. You know, it was the last time when an unstructured childhood was considered socially acceptable. Nowadays, at least from where I live and from observing my friends, it's kind of deemed socially unacceptable to just let your kid do what they want during the summer without steering them towards something productive, you know, something that can enrich them, that can give them an advantage later on in life. You want them to keep their minds fresh so that when they return to school, they wouldn't be behind. I just feel like from observing my friends, an unstructured time is not considered socially acceptable, and they would never allow their kids to roam around the neighborhood, at least without them around. They're always around. Their kids could play around the neighborhood, but they're always there. From my recollection, when I was a kid in the 90s, I had nothing but unstructured time. Like, as soon as the last day of school ended, the summer was mine. My time was mine to do what I want with it. Now, I'm a little bit of an outlier in that I had a really lonely childhood. I was more or less on my own a lot as a kid, like a lonely kid. Don't get me wrong, I'm not like one of those loners in school. I had friends, but I never hung out with them outside of school. And I played with friends in the playground and everything, but I never really did any like after school activities with them. I never went to any birthday parties. I don't know if I was invited to any birthday parties, so I wonder if like nobody liked me, but they played with me, so it didn't seem like I was a loner. But I never hung out with kids outside of school, and also during the summer when school ended, I was alone. I actually kind of liked it that way. I didn't feel like anything was missing. I didn't complain to my parents like, why can't I hang out with my friends from school? I just go like, it's time to do my thing. What my thing was watching TV. We could not afford any kind of video game console, and I just knew that, so I never asked my parents to buy me any Nintendo, like the Nintendo 64 or something. But I wanted one, and if I had one, I would spend all day playing video games. But I knew that we couldn't afford one, so I never asked for one. And that is why I would always say to my mom, I mean, I'll say this once in a while when she's in a good mood. I would say, you honestly do not know how good you had it having me as your daughter, raising me as a child. Because look, what kid would be like, I really want a Nintendo 64. I know you can't afford it, so therefore I'm not going to ask because I know I'm not going to get it. I wanted a Barbie and I got a Skipper. And I'm like, Skipper's good. Skipper's fine. Skipper had a Playmate, like a 99-cent store knockoff of Barbie. That was Skipper's Playmate. She was broke down looking. And then we had like Gigolo Ken that my neighbor gave me. This is real, guys. I'm a 90s kid and I spent the 90s never playing a single video game. Everybody was playing Mario or like GoldenEye, and I didn't play any of it. But you know, I had other options. The only games I ever played was Solitaire on like Windows 95 at the computer lab, and Minesweep. In middle school, I got an Encarta Encyclopedia 98, not 95, 98, and I felt like that was kind of a video game, looking through a CD-ROM encyclopedia. That was kind of fun. Somebody needs to tell my mom how grateful she should be to have me as a kid because I cost nothing to raise. I didn't cost her money in daycare. I didn't cost her money in clothes. I didn't cost her money in toys. My husband spent the 90s playing all the video games, and now he laughs at my skills because I'm trying to like play the video games I never played in the 90s. So I'm playing this game called Zombies Ate My Neighbor. It is really hard, guys. It's like a maze, and then these zombies pop up and they eat your neighbor, and I can't get past level 3. It just keeps eating me. I have no spatial reasoning skills because I don't play any video games. I played solitaire. I played solitaire as if I was in prison, and I had my little Huffy bicycle, and I would just bike around my yard. I could just bike around for hours and hours and hours, the same route over and over again. So Gigolo Ken, Skipper, Hawaiian Skipper, and broke down 99-cent Barbie is what I played with. She was tore up, guys. This broke down 99-cent Barbie. She had such bad plastic that after a few years, her face melted. It was like she had bad plastic surgery. So I had to use my imagination. I had to pretend broke down 99-cent Barbie was real Barbie. Back then when you go to the supermarket, there used to be like this cage full of balls, full of like bouncy balls. You know the famous ball from Toy Story, like that ball? I bounced a lot of balls. Had a lot of fun just bouncing a ball against the garage door, or sometimes I would do it indoors. In 94 or so, I was so bored during the summer that I had an imaginary stick. I found a stick on the ground. It was a big stick, and I just like marched around with a stick, pretending it was like a staff, like Gandalf's staff. And I performed all types of martial arts with this staff, my stick. And I would also devise a way to carry this stick on my little bicycle. We had some rubber bands from the grocery store, 4 rubber bands on the handlebar, and that's how I would carry my stick. I had a name for it. It wasn't very imaginative. I just called it Stick. Then one day I wondered what would happen if I broke Stick over my knee. So I did it. I broke the stick over my knee. It was not repairable after that. And then I just had this impulse to throw the stick in the street, and a car ran over the stick and turned it into kindling. And I'm like, I wish I could undo that. And by the way, I'm not a sociopath. I've been tested. So now that I'm an adult in the thick of like capitalism, I feel stressed the moment I wake up. To be honest, the moment I wake up, I feel like every minute of my day needs to be optimized and productive. And I feel guilt and shame over relaxing in many instances. The work never ends. Sometimes I would honestly just look back at my unstructured, unscheduled 90s childhood. I look back with longing and fondness. Obviously, I look back at it with rose-colored glasses because at that time, sometimes I would be very discontent. I would be like, I'm so bored. I'm playing with a stick. Why can't I have a Nintendo 64? Why can't we go to like Disney World or something, as I think my friends are going to, but I'm not. Now that I'm older, I think I had it good. I wish I could just lay beneath a tree and read some Goosebumps. I wish I could play with a stick. I wish I could spend 4 hours watching, like, what was the lineup? Animaniacs, Tiny Toons, Power Rangers, Batman the Animated Series. Oh, those were the days. I'm very, very grateful that I had a childhood that was unstructured, that I could have the luxury of spending hours just riding my bike without anybody saying like, you have to go to soccer practice, or you have to, I don't know, you have to work on your small business, or you have to win the champion spelling bee or whatever. I'm very grateful that I have been given the luxury of being bored. There's pros and cons to an unstructured childhood in that you become a very imaginative child. Having the luxury of being bored, of going to my cousin's house, spending the entire afternoon just running around, pretending that their house was haunted, pretending that their garage was haunted. You really work on your focus and your imagination. There's no brain rot with an unstructured childhood. You can say that spending hours in front of the TV brain rots you, but I don't think it brain rots you. It gave me something to think about. I daydreamed a lot. I I thought about Power Rangers all the time. I also had uncensored television, primetime television watching. I thought about the X-Files all the time, okay? I wouldn't say it rotted my brain, but it like sparked my imagination watching all these TV shows. It gave me a lot of food for thought as I was roaming around the neighborhood on my bike with my stick, hitting things with my stick. But the con is, I presume that if you're a kid and your parents enroll you in a lot of activities, that you're used to being busy, that you're used to having a full schedule, so that when you're in high school, it's time to pump up the application with extracurricular activities, with all your amazing accomplishments. It's second nature to you. It's old hat to you. You know what it's like to be busy. The con for me is the stress didn't really hit me until high school. All of elementary school, all of middle school, it was completely okay for me not to do anything. All that was required from me was that I have good grades, and I got good grades. My time was my own. As long as I got good grades, I could do whatever I want. But in high school, in order to be competitive to get into a university, a good university, you not only had to have good grades, you had to be very involved with extracurriculars and stuff. And I really didn't want to. Like, I made myself join clubs, but to be honest, I was just doing it as something to put on my resume. And once I was done with it, I dropped those clubs like a bag of dirt. I wasn't interested in doing all that. And I felt stressed out. Like, I felt like it was taking away valuable time from me time. Like, all I wanted was to read a book under a tree, or all I wanted was to like contemplate golden hour sunlight. I wanted quiet and peace, and I just wanted to watch some TV. I just wanted to ride my bike mindlessly and hit things with a stick. Then I had to, join all these clubs. I was never like president of any clubs, but I joined some clubs. Then I had to like edit this newspaper that I didn't really want to. It was stressful. I think that if I had a more structured childhood and I was used to being busy, it wouldn't have been such a change. Imagine you had nothing going on in your schedule, and all of a sudden you had to do this, and you had to do this, and you had to do this, just so you could get into college. And then when I entered college, I felt like I was at a disadvantage because everybody there was the president of some club, the captain of some team or something. And I'm like, I just wanted to like walk around the campus and go like, oh, how pretty. I just wanted to live a slow life. Like, I wanted slow living. But everything was just so fast, so I guess there was a disadvantage there. And especially hard for med school. Everybody applying to med school seems so accomplished too. I'm like, how do you do it? I already have enough on my plate trying to maintain my grades at UCLA, but then more people writing these scientific articles and being head of a club or a sorority. And I'm just like, can't we just like lay around in the grass in front of Royce Hall and just like, just chill? It's a beautiful day. Can't we just sit around and read? And like, no, you want to get into med school. Why aren't you finding the cure to cancer? I'm like, what? Can't we find the cure to cancer later? So I can see where my friend is coming from, where she doesn't want her kids to be disadvantaged when they inevitably have to do everything to get into college. You have to do a lot more now than we did back then when we were applying to college in like the early 2000s. I don't know what they would have to do by the time her kids are ready for college. Right now, as we speak now, you have to do a lot more now than we had to do back then. All I'm saying is like, I'm ill prepared. I don't like being really busy. I like to just lay around. Honestly, I don't know if there's a right answer to this. If I were a parent right now, I would probably enroll my kids in a bunch of activities. Since things are so much more competitive and you have to be so accomplished to just do basic things nowadays, like 20 years ago, it would be a no-brainer that somebody with like a 4.0 GPA like me would get into UCLA. It's like a no-brainer. You're a valedictorian, you have a 4.8 GPA, you're in. But nowadays it's like, you founded 3 companies that has VC funding, you found the cure to cancer at 15, you won a gold medal at the Olympics, you might get waitlisted to UCLA. So in that respect, in the world we live in now, if I had kids, I don't know if I would be comfortable giving them an unstructured 90s summer like I had. If they were allowed to just be kids and just wander around and use their imagination without screens, what if they were so behind? What if it's doing them a disadvantage? I'm predicting that they will be at a disadvantage. I can't say for sure, but I feel like I would be a helicopter parent. Not only would I be a helicopter parent, I would be a tiger mom. That's all I have for you today. If you've made it this far, drop this beach umbrella in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you've enjoyed me, then consider subscribing to my channel. And I'll see ya next time. I feel like the city is my backyard now. I don't have a backyard anymore, so I've decided to claim the entire city, my entire neighborhood, as my backyard. The city is my backyard. The city is mine. I do with it as I please. It's public property. Public property. It's public property, but I'm the public.